Hello, my name is Ben, and today I will be showing you how to patch a punctured bike tire.
For this project, you will need 2 soda bottles, 1 container for water, pliers, a bike pump, a wrench, 2 flathead screwdrivers, some tape, a pen, and for your patch kit, you will need glue, a patch, and a piece of sandpaper.
Alright, next, you're going to want to orient the bike in a manner that allows you to work on it a lot easier. The best way to do that is by resting it on its handlebars and its seat. We'll just simply tip the bike back like this. And place it down. And now you can get at the back tire, the front tire, and it'll stand up by itself. You may have noticed that I have set the handlebars on 2 soda bottles. What this is doing is it's taking any pressure off of the brake lines, the brake levers, or if you have any, the gear shifting levers. And what this is doing is preventing any damage that may occur while you're patching your punctured bike tire. If you don't have soda bottles, a good substitute would be wooden blocks or bricks. Once you set up your bike and you're ready to work on it, you're next going to want to be looking for objects or holes that are stuck in your tire that cause the puncture. What you're going to want to do is slowly rotate the tire while looking for these holes or objects such as rocks, nails, or screws. You're going to want to be careful because obviously these objects are sharp and could potentially harm you if they're able to stick into your tire. Once you've located the object, you're going to want to take your pliers and pull it out. Next, you're going to want to be letting any residual air out of your inner tube. First, you're going to want to locate your valve stem. You're going to want to remove the cap and set that somewhere safe because you're going to need that for later. This is what is called a Schrader valve. As you can see, there's a pin inside there. And what you're going to want to do is take your pen and you're going to want to push that pin down. As you can hear, the air is being let out of the tire. You're going to want to do that until there is no air left in the inner tube. Now, if this is not the valve that you have, there's what is called the Presto valve. With this valve, you're going to want to take the cap off, just like the other one. Now, you're not going to need any tools for this one. You're going to simply unscrew this, and you're going to want to press down this little button right here. And that's going to let the residual air out of your Presto valve. You're going to want to locate your bolts, which are attaching your wheel to the frame of the bike. You're going to want to take your wrench, and you're going to want to just, unloosen them all the way. Eventually, you can just do them by hand. You're going to want to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Keep in mind that the bike might be a little wobbly, so you might want to get a grip on it, hold it tight, and prevent it from falling over. Now that you've loosened up the bolts, it's time to take off the wheel. What you're going to want to do is take the wheel and lift it out of these hooks here and here. And you'll notice that the chain then becomes loose and you're able to take it off. Once you have the chain loose, you can take the tire, set it on the ground, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you have a small piece of paper towel, you can set that between the chain and your bike frame so you won't scratch the paint. Okay, so we've removed our tire. Now what we're going to want to do is take the wheel off of the rim. What we're going to do is use our 2 flathead screwdrivers. You're going to take the first one, push it or put it between the rim and the tire, and like this, you're going to be pulling it or rotating it away from yourself. Then you're going to take your second screwdriver, again putting that between the wheel and the tire, holding this one in place, slowly rotate, or not rotate, but move the second screwdriver along the circumference of the wheel. And as you can see, it's starting to remove it there. Now, take this screwdriver again and continue to rotate it along the circumference over here until the wheel has been removed. Now that you have one side of the tire removed from the rim, what you're going to want to do next is you're going to kind of just wrestle with the tire. But what you're going to want to be careful of is the valve stem. If you damage this at all during the process, you're going to have to buy a new inner tube, and patching and traditional patching won't work for this fix. So what you're going to want to do is flip it over and just kind of start prying away and kind of just pull it off there. Once you've done that, you can then separate all three of the different parts of the wheel set. You have your rim, your inner tube, which we'll be fixing, and your outer tire. Alright, now, once you've removed your inner tube from your rim and tire, what you're going to be doing next is locating the puncture hole. Now to do this, you're going to need your bike pump, and what you're going to want to do is slightly inflate the inner tube just so it takes its circular shape. Once you've done this, you can either listen for a hissing sound to locate the hole, or if you do have access to a water container, you can take a portion of the inner tube and slowly dunk it in, listening for a hissing sound, but also if there's any visible bubbles. As you can see, there's bubbles right here, which indicates that that is the location of the puncture hole. Now, once the hole has been located, it's a very good idea to take a piece of tape, or like I suggested earlier, a marker, like a bright colored marker or something like that, something that'll stand out against this black, and just kind of, you know, place it near your hole so that you'll always be able to find it and you don't need to go searching for it again. Alright, so we have our hole here, we have our tape that's marking our spot here, and what you're going to do next is take your abrasive material, your sandpaper in this case, and you're just going to want to kind of sand right on the hole, around the hole. You're going to kind of want to roughen that up and just make it a better area for that glue to stick onto. You're going to notice that it's going to kind of not shine anymore, and it'll have kind of a dull look to it. So, once you've prepped your work surface, the next step is applying the glue. What you're going to want to do is take your glue here, and depending on how you apply it, some of them have nice little caps that you can apply them with. But with this, just going to put it on this paper towel, and we're going to rub it on and around the hole, and kind of the surface that you had prepped prior to. And you don't want to put too much down, but you don't want to put down too little. What you're going to be looking for is that you put down enough and that it's not like accumulating and puddling. You want it to just go down and have a nice coating, and then you know that the glue is dry when it loses its shine. So once that happens, you can then apply the patch. Alright, so we have our tire here. The glue is now dried. So what we're going to want to do is take our patch here. We're going to remove the backing. Careful not to touch the adhesive side of the patch too much. And what you're going to want to do is just place it on the hole. And you might have to grab it from the back and just firmly press down. And make sure that it completely sticks and it's covering up that puncture hole. Alright, so now we have our inner tube all patched up. What we've got here is our tire and our rim. What we're going to be doing next is getting one side of the rim back, or one side of the tire back inside this lip of the rim. So what you're going to want to do is kind of place it in there on one side, and then what you're going to need to do is kind of by hand, similar to taking it off, you just got to pry it with your hands back into place. Now what we have is one side, or one lip of the tire is now reattached to the rim, and as you can see over here, there's space so that we can put our newly patched inner tube. Alright, we have our inner tube. What you're going to want to do is partially inflate the inner tube so that it takes its shape. Then what you're going to want to do is align the valve stem with the hole on the rim here. Once you've done that, you're going to just start placing the inner tube back into the wheel. Once that's done, just going to take the valve stem and place it through the hole in the rim. And similar to when you pried off the tire, you're just going to be by hand rotating it and prying that second side of the tire back onto the rim. Now you're going to notice that right here it's getting a little tight and hard to continue. You can either finish it up by hand or you can use a screwdriver to just pop that on there. Now that you have your tire and your wheel all put back onto the rim, what you're going to want to do is take your chain, and while it's loose, put it around and back onto the cog of your wheel. Once you've done that, place it back down onto the hooks, and you're going to want to make sure that your tire is properly aligned, and you just kind of want to pull back on it, so pull the tire towards yourself so you know that the chain is nice and tight. Once you've done that, you can take your bolts and by hand tighten them up. Then you're going to want to take your wrench and just fully tighten those up and lock them into place. Alright, now that you got your wheel back on your bike and everything's all tightened up, what you're going to want to do is take your bike pump and fill up the tires to its recommended PSI. If you don't know what the recommended PSI is offhand, you can always check the wall of the tire right here. And for this tire, it says 110 PSI. Once you've done that, you can flip the bike back over and take her for a spin.